Marcus Aurelius wrote these words 18 times in his Meditations. Don't let yourself be troubled. So how do we not let ourselves be troubled? This is something that I've been struggling with for a very long time. How do we remain centered when the world around us is falling apart? And by the way, it always seems like the world is falling apart, doesn't it? Every generation feels like they're living through some of the craziest times in history. So how do we find peace? Well, I think there are 3 key lessons from the Stoics that can help us to become unshakable, no matter what happens around us. I'm the host. This is a channel about Stoic philosophy and ancient wisdom for your life today. We want to thank our newest supporters. You guys really helped us out. It allowed us to bring on some new help and keep things going here at the channel. If you want to join our awesome community of supporters, you can check out the links below. Now let's get into the video. Lesson number 1 is how to deal with anxiety. What's the best way to avoid being troubled? Don't worry. That's right. If you don't worry, you won't be troubled. Easier said than done, my friend. But the Stoics have some very specific advice for dealing with anxiety, starting with Epictetus. He says, look at what happens when you feel fear or anger. Are you doing anything to improve your situation? No. So then you're just wasting your time worrying about something you can't control. You know, this is why we love Stoicism, because it's so actionable and practical. Like, how do we fix this problem of constantly worrying? Well, ask yourself, am I actually doing anything to make the situation better? If the answer is no, then stop worrying. Worrying has never made anything better in history. It only causes more problems. The Stoics would say that the only way to overcome anxiety is to confront whatever it is that's causing it. The obstacle is the path, as Ryan Holiday says. The way through anxiety is to go through it. Epictetus says this is why we have to distinguish between things that are in our control and things that aren't. And he says that most of the things we worry about are not in our control. They're not up to us. So we shouldn't waste our time worrying about them. Instead, we should focus on what's up to us. What are we doing right now to improve our situation? And by focusing on action, by focusing on what's in our control, we'll stop worrying about everything else. So how do we stay centered when the world around us is falling apart? Well, we have to start by understanding that most things are not up to us. They're not in our control, so we don't need to worry about them. Lesson number 2, how to deal with rejection. Rejection, the ugly part of success. You know, you have to put yourself out there. You have to risk rejection in order to achieve success. I talk about this in my book, The Obstacle is the Way. You can't get what you want in life unless you first put yourself out there, unless you take a risk, unless you step outside of your comfort zone. But this comes at a cost. We all suffer from rejection in our lives. And according to Seneca, we tend to suffer more from our rejections than those who reject us. He says, we make a drama out of a comedy. We weep over a thing that another person scarcely laments. And we brood over a wound which another person has scarcely noticed. So what does this mean? Why do we make such a big deal out of rejections? Well, it's because we take them personally. We assume that the other person is rejecting us as a person. But that's rarely ever the case, right? Most of the time, when someone rejects us, it has nothing to do with us. It's usually about them. But we think otherwise. We think it's about us. We take it personally. And this is where the Stoics tell us to practice indifference. Marcus Aurelius writes in Meditations, the one who is not hurt by external events is a better man than he who is hurt. And that's the case with everything. So what does this mean? Well, we have to get better at accepting the things that we cannot change, including people's opinions about us. We have to realize that other people's opinions about us are none of our business. You know, it's funny because recently someone was rejected by one of our team members, and I had to remind myself of this lesson from the Stoics. Someone didn't like their work. They didn't like their tone. They didn't like their attitude. And I could see that this person was taking it personally. They felt rejected. They felt criticized. They felt embarrassed. And I reminded myself, listen, you have to get better at accepting the things you cannot change. People will always criticize you. People will always reject you. And if you take everything personally, you're going to be miserable. So instead, I said, look, this is just business. This is just work. Take it as a piece of data. That's all it is. Don't make it more than that. And by getting better at accepting the things we cannot change, we're going to get better at not letting ourselves be troubled by external events. Which brings me to the third and final lesson, which is how to deal with failure. Failure is a fact of life. As the Stoics say, things won't always go our way. Life will throw us curveballs, but this is where our virtue is tested. As Marcus Aurelius says, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. So how do we use obstacles and failures to our advantage? Well, the Stoics tell us that we need to focus on what's in our control, on what's up to us, and we need to accept the things that are not up to us, that are beyond our control. We need to focus on doing the right thing, on acting virtuously, and not worry about the outcome. Seneca says, "What is not an obstacle to action is not an obstacle to happiness." In other words, don't let your setbacks get in the way of your happiness because they don't have to. You know, the Stoics tell us that we're like a ball that's kicked around by the winds of fortune. We're completely at the mercy of external events. But they also tell us that we're like the center of a whirlpool. No matter what happens externally, our center stays the same. And I think this is the secret to being unshakable. No matter what happens around us, no matter what happens externally, internally we can stay the same. We can stay true to our values, to our beliefs, to our purpose. We can stay focused on what's up to us and accept what's not up to us. And in this way, no matter what happens externally, we remain the same. So remember, brother, no one can disturb you without your consent. You are in control of your thoughts, your actions, your character. So stay true to that. Stay virtuous. Focus on what's up to you and accept the things that are not up to you. If you enjoyed this video, check out this video on overcoming fear and doubt. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We're putting out daily videos to help you be better in every area of your life. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more Stoic wisdom and teachings like this one.